Climate risk disclosure is a framework within which companies disclose how climate change could affect their business activities. Risks to businesses can come from the need to adapt to physical risks, such as threats to water, to risks from transitioning to a low-carbon economy, such as carbon prices. Climate change risk disclosure orients investment decision-making towards a more sustainable future.
You need information to assess both the risks of your investments and the opportunities. To do that and to have capital flow efficiently, the idea is to not be the decision maker for the investor, but instead be the enabler for a system that's robust, ensuring consistent and comparable disclosures. Government can take the voluntary standards, they can develop what then become the baseline for the rules of the road.
You're seeing a lot of coalescing around standardization happening, and one of the first times it did happen was during COP26 with the launch of the International Sustainability Standards Board, or as everyone calls it, ISSB. A lot of industry-based disclosure standards all consolidated to come under one umbrella, and since then ISSB has launched a climate disclosure framework along with a sustainability framework. Right now, all of the attention is on public companies, but as we know that in this market, especially in the US, there are lesser and lesser IPOs every year, and private companies are really, really big, and there's not a lot of disclosure on them. And also, as we see, one of the other risks that we see is also what we call brown spinning. Publicly listed companies are basically selling off carbon-intensive assets to private companies.
When you are talking about disclosures and trust, though, you do need a mechanism for enforcement. And that can come through several different mechanisms, whether it's through administrative structure that a country may set up, whether it's a joint effort where you have securities or disclosure authorities who can police the marketplace and/or can work also with criminal officials.
That is not coming only from civil society. It's not only coming from the public. It's not only coming from climate activists. It's also coming from investors. Not only small investors, but also large investors that are challenging companies because, climate risks are just so evident across their investment portfolios.
When you have that, you are taking friction out of the process, reducing the costs for information gathering that investors have to do. You are leveling the playing field for all the different sectors participants. Every country, in terms of developing what's going to be best for it, you have to take into account national and cultural circumstances. This can create a diversity of approach. One of the ways to both make sure you're addressing risks and opportunities that come along the way is to develop a toolkit that allows you to provide flexibility when new issues come up.
I think risk disclosures can also help companies and governments prepare for a clean energy future. It can help companies know how they're performing, where they are, for governments to know how much they can push, what do they need to monitor, and for stakeholders to other stakeholders in that game to be the levers also to push and drive for change.